12 hours to the start of the college football semifinals, the VRBO Fiesta Bowl tonight, Miami and Ole Miss, and we are getting you set for it this morning. Here we go. Look at the group we put together.
College football!
It's here!
College football!
Happy New Year!
Boys. Miss the boys!
Good to see you.
Couple weeks.
It's been a
Merry
while
Christmas.
since we've been reunited.
Happy
Josh
New Year.
Pate and
Happy
his
New Year.
traditional
Happy New Year.
hoodie is ready for this morning as well. So show me Pate, and we got Jordan Rogers, and we got everybody ready to go today. And we begin the playoff palooza tonight. Again, the semifinal showdown. It's Miami. It's Ole Miss. Let's dive deep. Hurricanes seeking their first national championship since 2001. And remember, the national title game is in Miami, so they are a win away from playing in their home stadium for the title, which is something that no college football team has ever done before. But to do it, they'll have to stop Ole Miss tonight, and their quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, who has been red hot this season, leads the country with 8 300-yard passing games, including a career-high 362 in the quarterfinals against Georgia. As for the Rebels, who will be on the sideline for them, has been the story throughout these playoffs. For tonight, their running backs coach and their offensive coordinator will be at the game. Their tight ends and wide receivers coaches will not. Their head coach is Pete Golding. He was asked yesterday about all the changes to the staff. Here's what he had to say.
To be honest with you, I don't think the players give a damn who runs out of the tunnel. Right? Does it make sense? They care about their plan. They care about getting held accountable, right? And how they're going to prepare. And they care about people that care about them, right? And I think that's been the message our players have created. But I don't have to say to anybody else.
Hell yes. Hey, hell
right.
yes.
I've never met that man, and yet I love him.
God, dude.
Who does not love what that guy is doing, what this team is doing? I think if you don't otherwise have a horse in the race, how are you not rooting for these guys who were left by their coach in the middle of their season? Now here they find themselves 2 games from a championship, Dan.
Yeah, proving people wrong is a powerful drug, and that's the Ole Miss players right now. And Lane Kiffin has become a little bit like Jerry Jones. He's made Ole Miss America's team. To your point, everybody wants to see Ole Miss win. And now these players that were brought into the program because of or in part with Lane Kiffin are like, we're going to do it without you. And you left and chose them, LSU, instead of us. And Calendar was part of that, no question. But now they're like, well, we're going to do it without you. And we don't need you. And we're going to prove to everybody, and we're going to prove to you that you went and chose LSU because you thought maybe you could win a national title there easier or more. And there's probably some truth to that. But now we're one of the Final Four teams. And there's this intoxication that happens with athletes that once somebody directly or indirectly tells you, yes, I don't think you can do it, it's this drug that overtakes you like, yeah, we can. And you're kind of watching it play itself out.
Yeah, to see this team just kind of give the bird to Lane Kiffin on the way out and galvanize around Pete Golding. Like, Pete Golding gets the blood flowing below the belt, boys. When he goes up and talks publicly like that, and just to see the team rally around the circus that this team went through, the TV series that this team went through with Lane Kiffin leaving, you kind of just sit back, you're like rooting for them. You kind of hate to see everything unfold the way it did with Lane Kiffin and the circus that went on with it. But you kind of assume that they were going to be Tulane. But to see him go in and take down the SEC champion in Georgia, a team that they lost to in the season with Lane Kiffin, and to see the excitement that they have, this is why everybody roots for this team.
The reason why we're sitting here right now enjoying the storyline of Ole Miss, this is Lane Kiffin's nightmare. When he left Ole Miss, he thought, hey, great football team. I'm glad I put that together. Look how much I've done for Ole Miss. They will see in the playoffs. Now we get in the playoffs, and they're 1 game away from a national championship. No one wants to see Ole Miss fail more than probably Lane Kiffin, who's the ultimate troll. But Pete Golding and the boys, they're literally sitting in their room right now, and there's a dartboard with Lane Kiffin's face on it, and that's all the motivation they need.
Here's a needle there. Here's a needle there. Here's another angle.
Think about it, too. We're all the main characters in our own movie, but Lane Kiffin assumed he was the main character in Ole Miss's movie.
He was the main character in all of college football for the longest time.
Yeah.
Who knows? He would turn heel on everybody. And now Pete Golding and everybody, they're riding into the sunset, possibly with a win over Miami.
At Ole Miss, he is perfect proof of the old expression, or the Batman expression. You either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
What a bar to start the morning.
The villain. And Pate, you had an interesting take on your show yesterday that I thought was fascinating. Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss because he didn't think he could win a championship there. You can win championships at LSU. And in the long run, he may have walked away from what will turn out to have been the best chance to win a national championship he'll ever have.
Yeah, it's a ton of fog in the college football world right now. So one of an infinite amount of great unknowns is What's everything going to look like 5 years from now? Certainly, if you and I were to hit the rewind button, history has taught us in our lifetimes, LSU gives you a much better shot to win a title/titles than being the head coach at Ole Miss. There's not a guarantee that that's just the way it is moving forward, Greeny. Now, I'm fully admitting to you, I have no idea what the future holds, nor does anyone else, including the decision makers in the sport. But let's just humor me for a second. What if we look 5 years from now and the sport continues on its current trajectory, and therefore everything keeps evening out and the resources keep evening out? Over time, what that does is it diminishes all of the built-in historical edges that a job like LSU would give you relative to a job like Ole Miss, to where all you have at an LSU that you wouldn't have at an Ole Miss, all that you have in an Ohio State that you wouldn't have at an Indiana, are sky-high expectations. You no longer have the edges to go along with the expectations. So in that world, yeah, I got to admit to you, there may be Lane Kiffins and a few other guys with those big bloated jobs and expectations down the road that look back and say, was I better in Oxford? Man, I may have been better off in Oxford.
You're making an extremely important point, and there is no better illustration of it than in the game that we play tomorrow night. Because if 5 years ago we were all sitting here at this table and I said, I think in 5 years, Indiana is going to be a dominant #1 team in the country. No one's going to be able to handle them. They're going to have the Heisman-winning quarterback, and they're going to be undefeated. They're going to be unstoppable. You would have had me committed. Yeah. Right? I mean, that would have been the most ridiculous thing in the world. That would be far more ridiculous than saying in the next 5 years, Ole Miss is going to wind up winning more football games than LSU is. I'm not saying that it won't happen. But I think the point he's making is a good one. None of the old rules apply anymore. Sometimes timing works against you.
Yeah.
Not all of this is Lane Kiffin's fault, clearly. He didn't make up the rules. He didn't make up the calendar. He didn't decide when he had to go. But, boy, the way it works out, it could not have worked out worse for him.
And absolutely. And I don't think that anybody faults the football perspective of Lane Kiffin going to LSU to win a national championship. We can't talk out of both sides of our mouth and say, we understand you going to LSU because the history of the talent that you can get there in comparison to Ole Miss, but also say you left your team hanging for dry. I do think there's still going to be an advantage.
Yes, but let me just very quickly say the one group of people, and you're the one who started saying this, is the people in that room. Right? So what he's basically saying, Trinidad Chambliss, I'll just use him as a placeholder for all of them, all those guys in that room are saying, our coach left because he's saying he can get better people to win a championship than us.
No doubt.
And that not than this school, not than this place, but than us.
And 100%. And there's the moment as a player, and I'm not saying every guy in Ole Miss's locker room feels this way, but there's a moment as a player when you are with your coach, and you'll do anything for them. It's just that relationship. When you build it right, I'll die for you type of mentality as a coach. And then when you choose someone else, it completely flips. And we become motivated and persuaded, and we're gonna do it without you, and we're gonna rub it in your face. And I think that's what you're constantly seeing from the Ole Miss players and the young men is like, there's this perspective now that they, of course, want to win. They want to do it without Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
And they want to raise that trophy on January 19th, and they want to shove it right in his face and say, you thought it was you, it was us.
Everything you just said is correct as far as this timeline goes right now. When Lane Kiffin took the job at LSU, I think a lot of us thought, hey, he's going to take all of his best players from Ole Miss and bring over to LSU. The way it's kind of transpired with the trolling on Twitter, and now he's having the coaches just come back on a jet real quick to do a recruiting trip back and forth, transfer portal, the way he's kind of like trying to stop Ole Miss from being great has been a part of turning this into, we know what you're trying to do now, and we're going to prove you wrong because of it.
It became personal.
It's become personal.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you can even see resources being poured in more to LSU or into Ole Miss because everybody, the powers that be, are like, we've got to make sure we keep and maintain the success.
Trinidad Chambliss, he's fighting for a 6th year right now, and he's already said, if I get granted that 6th year, I'm staying at Ole Miss.
Yep.
Kewan Lacey, who is an incredible running back, I think he was the leading rusher in college football. Josh Bacon, correct me on that. He said, I'm staying at Ole Miss as well. We could get to the end of whenever Ole Miss is run, whether it's in a couple of days or it's after the national championship game, and we could see that portal and that team stay.
Yeah.
Well, right now they got 8 guys that they've landed in the portal.
Yeah.
So they're moving
like,
in the
there's
portal.
this almost by the day fuel being added to the fire of, oh, now the coaches can't stay with us. Then more coaches. That move by Lane Kiffin also is wrong. And I've had Lane Kiffin's back in this whole situation. You're not going to be negatively impacted in your future program at LSU, whether it's the now or 6 months from now, because of a couple assistants are 2 weeks late. And so the fact that some of those coaches he's not allowing or aren't staying back to stay a part of this run for Ole Miss, that's not a good move by Lane Kiffin. So it's almost like there's more added fuel to the fire for the Ole Miss players.
Which is funny, too, because when Lane left, he was talking about how he was trying to talk with the AD on staying on to help this team throughout the playoffs.
Which is a good move by the AD not to do that.
Pate, get back in here.
Yeah, I would have jumped in, but look at that body language by Will Compton. I've never seen him lean this forward for a Lane Kiffin conversation. Look, if I may be so bold, and it's going to take some boldness, to speak for Lane Kiffin on this matter, I think he would look across the table from Dan if we were to have gotten him in studio this morning, and he would have said, hey, man, they signed the contract. Those assistant coaches decided to follow me. You know, I didn't force them. I didn't walk them out on the plank. And by the way, we at LSU have been paying their salary. We're covering their benefits. We're covering everything for them to go up there to work for the past 2 weeks. Now, I could argue. Dan, I know what you're about to say. I don't even need you to. I know what Ole Miss folks would say back. I know what a competitor would say back. I'm a fan of college football, and I know what I would say back. I just want to, for the interest of fairness here, speak for Lane Kiffin in the room.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
He doesn't care about contracts. Look what's happening right now with Washington and Williams. There ain't no respect for contracts in this day.
Listen, that's a deeper burn.
Sure.
That's a deeper burn for Will, that subject.
JP, and I'm with you. There was also the opportunity for him to do the right thing. Like, there was the chance for him to kind of be the hero once again and go, no, I know you guys signed your contracts and your future's at LSU, but the right thing for what these players have given to Ole Miss and to us as coaches, stay. Finish the run. We'll figure all the semantics and the details of it later. That didn't happen. And again, I was the one who said it's not Lane Kiffin's fault for the calendar. So there was also that chance. He chose not to. And again, I think there's fuel to the fire for the players.
Because you're a man of honor and integrity.
Pate, quick final word on this. We have all morning.
Short supply.
Yeah. Okay, let me leave it here a minute. As you can tell, we have a lot to say this morning. We have the right people to